morning, everyone. Welcome to Tokyo, to EMSAN JSSA Days 2016 Joint Symposium. And we have 2 days of symposium, and we are planning 14 presentation, but unfortunately some presentation is missing for some reasons. And today we want to start with Mrs. Kojima, the second speaker, because the first speaker, Romeopolis Judith, can come here, so cannot come here. So Mrs. Kojima is the first speaker, and the program, the third speaker, Liu Yanlin Ami, can come here. So the first morning session, the first session has only one speaker. So we have more time for your presentation. If you like, you can longer presentation in front of us here. And about the EMSAN. About the EMSAN, this is Electroacoustic Music Studies Asian Network. So our presentation, or your presentation, may be concerning about Asian electroacoustic music. So we are looking forward to some interesting presentations. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, good morning, everyone. We will speak in English. This is, as you know, the main language, but you can also speak in other languages, in Chinese. But the presentation, most of the presentation will be in English. So, yes, indeed, we were counting on 14 presentations. However, Mrs. Romero Porras, the first presentation, Judith, she is a citizen of Mexico, but she's studying in France. In fact, she's my student in a PhD. But because she's from Mexico, she needs to renew her visa every year. And at this moment, she's in between visas, so she's expecting her new visa, so she's not allowed to leave France. This is why she wrote me a few days ago saying, I'm sorry, I'm stuck, I have to stay in France right now. So we, Mrs. Mizuno told her that because we have another meeting next year in Japan, she would be welcome to postpone her presentation until next year. It may be a good time, before I go on with the missing papers, it would be a good time to announce that next year Mrs. Mizuno is organizing the annual Electroacoustic Music Studies Conference, the EMS conference. The EMS conference was started in 2003, so that's already a long time ago. It was started in France, and then it took place in various parts of the world. For instance, in 2005, it was in Montreal, Canada. 2006, it was in Beijing at the Music Acoustica Festival, and then every year in a different city. This year, 2016, we were supposed to have the EMS in Hungary, in Budapest. However, it did not take place because of some political problems in Hungary, so for the first time, we didn't have an EMS. But next year, then, it will be in Nagoya. And it's on the screen.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Excuse me. That's written only in Japanese. That is the breaking news of EMS in 2007 2017. So we will have electroacoustic music studies conference in Nagoya in 2017 in September, maybe September 4 to 8. And Nagoya, maybe you know, Nagoya is the center of Japan. Tokyo, Osaka, and Nagoya is the center. So, and I think it's a little bit easier to come to the city because Nagoya has an international airport, the Chubu Kokusai Kuko International Airport. From the airport to the center of Nagoya, we take 30 or 40 minutes by train. That's very convenient. So please come again to Nagoya next year.
The EMS conference is mostly a musicology conference, a little like the EMSAN days, actually EMSAN JSSA this year. So we talk about studying pieces of electroacoustic music. By the way, after Nagoya in 2017, we are already planning the 2018 EMS conference. And it looks like it will be in Italy. And we have a wonderful castle just outside Firenze, or Florence, just outside. It's beautiful, and we are planning for the month of June, like the second part of June 2018, the EMS conference. For EMSAN, next year we don't have any plans yet, so we'll see whether it takes place in Japan or in China. So we will announce it later. Now let me go on with the missing papers because it's sorry to announce this, but there is a scholar from Suzhou, in Suzhou University in China, Liu Yanglin. And she is recovering from illness, so her doctor advised her not to come, not to travel abroad. So, okay. And then we have two missing people, Deng Jiyong and Wang Daiwei, who had problems coming to Japan. So they won't be, that's tomorrow, so they won't be here. We will only have Hanado from Korea giving her paper in the afternoon. No, that's today. That's today, I'm sorry, that's today. And then tomorrow, the first paper by Per Magnus Lindborg from Singapore will be missing. And the reason is different. It's a technical reason. Lindborg, whom I had as a student a long time ago in France, now lives in Singapore. He was expecting some special speakers for his presentation, like a demonstration also, and those speakers were not acquired yet. So this is why he wants to postpone again his paper until next year. So let me say a few words about EMSAN. EMSAN was started in 2008, in fact, as a meeting specifically to study electroacoustic music in East Asia. So that's China, mainland, and other territories, Hong Kong, Macau, Taiwan, Korea, and Japan. So this really limited to this region for the moment. May change in the future and extend to Southeast Asia as we go along. It took place during the Music Acoustica Festival, which takes place every year in Beijing, the last week of October. It will take place this year also, but not with EMSAN. And it's been held at in Beijing for many years until one time it was in Taipei, and last year it was in Nagoya, and obviously this year here. The proceedings are whenever people send their papers, we publish them as PDF files on the EMSAN website, which is located in France. So it's in English, but it's also in French, actually. But you are welcome to give your papers in any language, because what is important at EMSAN is to extract information, to receive information as it is. So if you have a paper in Chinese, then you are welcome to send your paper in Chinese or in Korean or in Japanese. Doesn't really matter as long as we have the information. So the translation is not necessary. You are welcome to send your paper in your native language if you want. But of course, it's true that if it's in English, you have more coverage, more reader. The readership will be much larger, not only from English-speaking countries, but from any other country in the world. So if you want to be read, I would advise you to send your paper in English, if possible, but again, it's not mandatory. Okay? Right.
Thank you very much, Professor Battier. So let's start with the first speaker, Mrs. Kojima. Could you prepare something?